Hey guys, welcome back. Today I am going to do a little page in my traveler's notebook. I have been loving circles lately. I've been seeing a lot of layouts with a lot of circles on them. I really love them. I don't often use them though, so I decided to kind of challenge myself today and put as many circles on a page as I can. What I'm starting with is just one photo and a whole bunch of thin metal dies. I've got a couple of different stacked circle dies here. One is scalloped, one is plain. They are super old though. I will link something similar in the description box for everything I use here, but I'm just going to go ahead and start cutting, really, I think. I've got this 6x6 Happy Blooms paper pad from Pink Fresh Studios that I got from the Citrus Twist store. I'm also going to use the True Life Volume 2 stamp set from Citrus Twist. So I trimmed out my photo with a metal die first, and then I'm going to stack a few of these circles. So I picked a scalloped one that fit behind there, but before I did anything, I just made sure that one of the stamps that I'm going to use, it's not really a stacked title. I'm going to create a title with 3 of the stamps from the stamp set, and I wanted to make sure that I had enough space to put that in because my photo and the paper is quite large. It's quite large for my traveler's notebook. I normally use a photo a little bit smaller than this. So what I've done is I've started with 3 larger circle clusters. So one holds my photo on the right there. The one on the bottom left, I've chosen a lighter kind of pattern. I'm going to add some journaling onto there. And then just to complete that visual triangle, I've added another larger one up the top here. These 3 are also going to hold my title. So they're not the only circles that are going to be on the page, but they are the kind of main ones. So I'm setting them out in that kind of triangle shape. And before I go much further, I am going to stamp my title because I don't want to run out of room for the title. It's going to be much easier to stamp in my title now and then add the rest of the kind of circle embellishments, I guess, than it is to add the circle embellishments and then try to fit this title in here. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm adding 3 stamps. The first one was this, so it's going to read just this moment. The first one that I stamped was this, and I didn't need to do much in the way of manipulating the stamp to make it fit around the circle. I just kind of lucked out there. This one here, moment, you can see it's a longer word and it has the tail of the T that kind of hangs down. So I'm going to have to do a little bit more planning. I have manipulated the stamp on my block, so it is in a bit more of a circular shape, and before I stamped that, I just added a couple of pencil marks that I wanted to be able to stamp in between so that I could make sure I had enough room to put that circle down there, and that way everything fit. I could remove that photo portion and stamp without stamping on top of my photo, and that's really the only planning I've done. Just at the top there was a little bit similar. I didn't have to manipulate it that much on the block. It just kind of fit. I am covering up the tail of the T and the J, but I feel like it does still read as just, so it works out nicely. So now I can go ahead and add the other kind of embellishment circles on this page. And when I say embellishment, I'm really just adding like die cut paper circles. I am adding nothing in the way of like stickers or enamel dots or die cuts, nothing like that. I'm just working with the metal dies and the paper. I've gone ahead and just trimmed out a bunch. I've used a few of the kind of smaller dies. I worked out which ones I sort of wanted to stack, and then I just die cut the rest of those scraps of paper from I think I've got 5 papers that I used initially. One of them I am going to use both sides of that paper, this one here with the sort of tealy floral on it. It's got a lovely pink on the back, so I'm going to use both sides of those. So I end up with kind of 6 patterns, and I've just randomly cut a bunch of circles, whatever I could fit into those scrap papers, and now I'm going to work on kind of layering them and filling up the rest of this page. So essentially I'm just balancing everything by eye. I'm Obviously, I'm not stacking two of the same pattern on top of each other. And also just bearing in mind the size of things, like I do want to be able to see what pattern is underneath each one. So I'm trying to keep a reasonably kind of even scale on there, and also just balancing out where those colors are or the patterns are on the page. So if I've got a huge cluster of pink, I want to balance that out by adding some pink pieces around the page, and so on and so forth with all of those kind of colors, just to kind of keep the movement in the page and not have one really dominant circle portion. If there was a really huge kind of color difference on one side of things, then it would look really unbalanced. So that's all I'm doing. I'm just playing with paper. There's no kind of golden rules here. You can see I've sort of lost my visual triangle there. I'm adding a few dots and circles all around the page. I am keeping them on the smaller side. I've only added two kind of larger clusters behind the actual visual triangle piece, and the third triangle at the top underneath just, I've added a few more layers to that just to make that one a little bit more dominant too. And now I'm going to go through the super tedious task of gluing all of these down. I did actually manage to get them all glued down. The single dots are obviously easy. I'm going to glue them straight to the page. The more sort of clustered pieces, I am pulling them off my spread, gluing them from top to bottom, and then adhering them down. So when things are underneath, like my main circle cluster here underneath my photo, I did adhere that all down first. And then I'm just working top to bottom as far as my photo and the backing and all of that kind of goes. I'm not going to make you watch all of it. It took a while. It was only this one here that I sort of forgot which piece was going where. I did sort of change up a couple of them as I was gluing things down, but they're roughly all in the same place. Then I went and grabbed that lighter one, run that through my typewriter. I really only could manage to get journaling into the middle of that, adhered that down. Some of these circles do sort of fall off the edge of my page. I love that more than just having them all contained within the rectangle. It gives it a lot more movement, and it's not really difficult to kind of just trim off the edges here, although I did miss one. That was really the main basis of my page. I just wanted to add a little bit kind of more in the way of embellishment, a little bit more to add to the title. So I grabbed a few different sentiments from the same stamp set, and I'm going to stamp in 3 different colors this time. I stamped my title in black just to tie in a few of those kind of darker pieces from my photo, and obviously my journaling is in black as well, but this time I'm going to stamp in color. So I grabbed 3 colors that match those papers, and I'm going to add a little sentiment to each of the words for my title. So the little sentiments that I'm adding into here, they kind of relate more to that particular word rather than the entire title. So I sort of end up with 4 little sayings on here. So each of those word clusters is its own element altogether, and then the just this moment reads as one title. So I love how this worked out. I'm glad I added these extra stamps, a little bit of extra detail, a little bit of extra color, plus I get to use some of those fantastic stamps on the stamp set. And that's it. It really was a super simple page. I love kind of the circular elements to it, and I'm glad I managed to stuff so many in there. Thanks for watching today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there are a couple more videos on screen. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Bye.